Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel and to another video. I hope you're all doing really well today. Thank you so much for joining me. I think Christmas is a bit stressful as it is, and bringing the elf back every year can be quite stressful too. So I have made this absolutely gorgeous little envelope. This is actually a file from Creative Fabrica, which they have used it as a flower box, but I thought it's ideal for your elf to sit in to come back and be posted to you. So he's got a little stamp on him there. As you can see, it's a special delivery from the North Pole. And then on the back, it does say that it's for Max. So he's coming back to surprise Max, especially for Christmas this year. So let's jump into the project, and I'm going to show you step by step how to do everything here. And we're going to make one of these envelopes together, and then your elf will be ready to be back with a vengeance. Let's jump into Cricut Design Space. Just before we get started with this project then, let's have a quick look at everything we're going to need, supplies and tools wise, to make this one. So first of all, I'm going to get these mats out of the way because this project is quite sizable, so you are going to need one of the large cutting mats. I'm using a strong grip one today, but it is one that I've used quite a few times, so it's not all that sticky. Then I've just got a regular 30cm square cutting mat as well, which you'll also need. The paper that I'm using for my envelope today is this one from Lidl's. This is 270 GSM, but the quality of this paper is amazing. I'm going to be using the red sheet from this book of paper. If you ever see these in Lidl's, I think it's around March time they have them normally. They are always in the middle at Lidl, and they're so brilliant. They score and cut absolutely fantastically, so 100% recommend this paper. Then the other material that I'm going to be using today is some vinyl. I'm going to be using this holographic Intense Sparkles vinyl. As you can see, it's super shiny and it's going to look really great on our envelope. Then you're going to need some transfer paper. I'm using my favourite transfer paper today. This is the Light Tack one from the Tape, and I buy mine from MDP Supplies, but you can get a similar Vinyl Frog one online. I will link both down below for you to check out. And then tools. So tools wise, I've got a few bits and pieces here. So you've got all your standard scissors, ruler, that sort of thing. Then I've got some quilting clips. These are just going to help me to hold seams together if I'm gluing. Then I've got some glue here. This is the Collal all-purpose glue that I use all the time, and I've just got it in one of these needlepoint bottles. Then you're going to need either a scoring stylus or the scoring wheel. I'm going to be using the stylus today just because I find it quicker and easier to do. But if you have got the scoring wheel and you wish to use that, you certainly can. You're going to need your fine point blade. This is the one that comes with your machine, so you should have this. It's in the silver housing. Then I've got my brayer just here. This is the one that I use for everything. As you have probably heard if you've watched any of my videos before, I rave about this thing. And then in my McLaren F1, I have got all basic stuff like tweezers, weeding tool, my weeding pen, all that sort of stuff. So just basic bits and bobs that you would use for any sort of crafting project. So let's jump into Design Space and get started. Here we are then in Cricut Design Space, and this is the file that I'm going to be using today. I have just downloaded this from Creative Fabrica and then uploaded it into my project here. So if you don't know how to do that, there is a video on how to download and upload from Creative Fabrica on my YouTube channel. I will pop a link down below now for you, and I will also pop one up in the corner so you can check that out. I'll just hop into Creative Fabrica so that you can see this file. There it is. That is the one I'm using. It's the envelope flower box template with liners. I have showed you exactly how to download and upload this in that video, so it's definitely worth checking out if you're not sure how to do it. But you get 4 different shapes of liner and boxes, so it's really a great file to have on hand because I think you could use it for quite a lot of stuff. So let's go back into Design Space. Okay, so this is the box that I've downloaded, and this is the envelope line, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use that, so I'm going to hide that one for now. So when you download this particular file, you'll find that every line is actually labelled as a cut line. Now you don't want that to happen, because if you were to go through to make it just with the file as it is, you'll find that each of these lines will cut rather than score. So what you'll need to do is just make sure that on this part of the layers panel, all of these lines are marked as score lines. When you actually upload this file, you'll find all of these will be labelled as basic cut, and you don't want that, so you need to make sure you change it. Then you'll see the last layer at the bottom of the layers panel is the envelope box, and that is a basic cut. Leave that one as it is, because that one is the outside cut of your project. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to share this one on my profile because it is a uploaded image, but as I said, if you want to use this file, please go ahead and download it from Creative Fabrica. So once you've changed all of those to be in the score line, you just need to make sure that they are going to cut in the configuration that they are on this screen now. So by that I mean, if I go through to make it, you're going to see that your mat looks like this, and that's all your score lines. And then secondly, you've got your actual envelope template. That's no good. We want those score lines to be placed on that second mat where we want them to be. So let's cancel that. So the easiest way of doing this is just clicking on select all, and then we just want to click on attach at the bottom here. So now they are all attached, and this is exactly what's going to mirror when we go through to our make it screen. As you can see, they are all there and ready to go. So now that that's all set up, as you can see, those score lines are all in the correct spots. We are going to need to use a 30cm by 60cm cutting mat for this, because it's quite a big project. If you haven't got one of those, you can tape two of the 30cm ones together. I've done that before when I haven't had a large mat on hand, but that will work perfectly. Let's go through to continue. Now my computer's looking for my maker, so if I just click on the drop down box, I'm going to choose the one that's attached by the USB. Then it's going to ask us to choose our base material. So I'm going to be using poster board setting for this. I use it for most of my materials, but especially when the cardstock is around 300-ish GSM, poster board usually works really well. So I'm going to click on that. The next thing it's going to ask us to do is to load our tools and materials. So as I said at the start in the materials that we're going to need part of the video, I am going to be using the stylus, not the scoring wheel. So the machine wants me to use the scoring wheel, as you can see. Now I don't want to use that, so what I'm going to do is click on Edit Tools, and it's going to bring up all of the different options that I could use for scoring. So I could use the double scoring wheel, which is recommended, or I could use the single one, or I can use the scoring stylus. So I'm going to click on scoring stylus. You can see it gets the green box around it, and then I'm also using the fine point blade. Let's click on apply. That's ready to go. All I need to do now is set up my mat and get it in the machine to cut. For my project today, I'm going to be using a strong grip cutting mat. This one's been used a few times, so it's not actually all that strong, but it will be fantastic for this particular project. Let's just give that a little bray. That's all we need to do for setting up our mat. Let's go over to the machine and set up the blades that we need. Here I am then at my machine. So I've got my fine point blade already loaded into clamp B, and I just need to put my scoring stylus into clamp A. So I've got it in the top here. All I'm going to do is just pop it this way around so that little arrow is facing down, and then I'm just going to put it in until it clicks. It's not a very loud click, listen. That's in there. Once that click is done, we can just close that clamp A, and that's ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is grab my mat. I'm just going to put my mat into the machine and just hit the insert mat button. That is ready to go. Now all we need to do is hit go on the machine, and our project will start. The whole project is scored and cut, so now we can eject that mat from the machine. So, in the realms of rookie errors, this one is pretty good. So, you know, obviously this is going to need tabs to fold in to stick it together. My piece of card wasn't quite big enough for the tab on the right hand side, so I'm going to have to make a tab and just glue it in. It's not really a big deal, so all I'm going to do is just use this piece as a template. But if you ever experience anything like this, It's just so funny. What an idiot. What a silly thing to do. So all I'm going to do is just, I think what I'll do is just put that way around. And I'm going to just draw myself with a pen the shape of that template. That's going to go on there. And then all I'm going to do is just cut that out with my scissors. And then I'll be able to just glue that on to the inside of that template, because that was a proper rookie error. But just goes to show things don't always work out with YouTube. And then all I'm going to do is just grab my scoring stylus out of my machine and then get my big ruler, and I'm just going to score that manually along there, and then that will be the tabs. So let's glue that onto here, and it fits fine. That's absolutely fine. So if you don't have a piece of paper that is big enough, you can do this. So I'm just going to glue that on there and give that 10 minutes or so to really dry nicely. This is where the quilting clips come in, because if we just grab a couple of them, we can just make sure that that is lined up correctly on that side, and then we can just pop them on there. You just want to make sure it's lined up and it doesn't move when you put your quilting clips on, but it just holds that in place. So now I haven't got to worry about being here to hold that exactly where it needs to be while it attaches that additional tab onto there. So what you can do whilst we're waiting for that to dry, I can just fold all my other tabs in and maybe even start gluing them. So let's fold that one over, and then we've got this one here and this one. I'll just leave that edge alone for now, but what we'll do with this is just put that one, so this is going to be the way it's going to look, and then when our elf is sat in it, he's going to be in it like a little envelope. And I think what I might do is put a little I'm back on the back there. So let's get the glue on these two tabs that are attached here. And then on there, I'm just going to glue that together like so. I think I'm going to have to hold it for now because my quilting clip trick isn't going to work on this particular piece of cardstock. It has been a good 10 minutes now since I glued all this together, so let's just take these little clips off and we can fold the final scores on the sides, and then I'm just going to glue these bits in. With this collal glue, if you're using the same glue that I am, if you put it on and then you leave it a few minutes before you actually press it together, you'll find that it does go a little bit tacky, so it does make it easier. Also, if you wanted to, you could use double-sided tape, or you could use a hot glue gun if you are comfortable with doing that, but just be careful that you don't burn yourself, because it can be quite tricky on smaller things if you are using a hot glue gun. You can't even tell that that tab was an add-on. I can't believe I did that. Fancy not checking that the size of your cardstock is adequate for your project. Right, while that is drying, what I'm going to do is hop back into Design Space. I'm going to make like a special delivery and an on back to go on here as well. So let's put that to one side while it dries and jump into Design Space. Alright, here we are back in Design Space then. So we can now use the cut template as a template for our vinyl decals that we're going to make. So the best way to do this, I think, is if we go into Images, and I'm going to search for Special Delivery North Pole. As you can see, I've looked for it before. So I'm going to go down to the bottom to advanced search because I don't like this small layout. I wish they'd left it alone and left it bigger. But if you go through to the advanced search, you still get this big display, so you can see everything that's on here. There's several different options for this one actually, and I quite like a few of them, so it's going to be difficult to choose. I do like this, but it's a print then cut, and we can tell that because it's got this little printer on it. But 2 pictures across is this one, which is the same image but as a cut image. So I'm going to click on the plus and add that to the canvas. And then the other one that I quite like is something like this, where we can put the child's name on it. Let's go on to that one and have a look. Do you think we could make that all in one colour? I think we probably can. I don't want to make it so that it's going to be all different colours, because I think that's going to make it quite awkward. So let's change the name on there to Max. And then I'm going to just, oopsie. And then I'm going to just grab all of that. I need to move that Max so that it's more centred. So let's just move that up. I'm going to select all of that and I'm going to make it one colour if I can. So let's make it all red. And the same with this one, I'm going to change that to be red. Now that that's there, what I need to do again is make sure it's going to cut correctly, because obviously there's lots of different layers in this North Pole special delivery. So if I go through to make, you're going to probably see it all spread out all over the shop. So that's not how we want it to cut. So let's cancel that again. What we are going to do is move that over. We are going to select all of that and come down to attach again, and then we want to size everything. So let's bring our little special delivery stamp down here. That's going to fit in nicely at the bottom, and then this is going to be our I'm back. Now it doesn't need to be very big, because don't forget that this bit is going to fold up here, so we want to make it so that it's not huge but it's not too small either. I think that will probably work. Let's go through now to make it. There we go. I'm going to change the size of my mat to be the smaller mat. There we go, that's better. So that is perfect. I'm going to set this up with some silver holographic vinyl, so then we'll be able to cut this out on the machine and then get that put onto our envelope. You may well have seen me use this vinyl before. How absolutely gorgeous is this vinyl? And I think against the red of that envelope, it's going to look so amazing. So let's just take off my little bit of Halloween washi tape that holds this roll closed. Now we're not going to make the same error that we made before. We're going to make sure that our piece of vinyl is the correct size. So let's pop this quilting square up in the corner, and then I can just make a couple of marks on the side. So it needs to be about 15 centimetres long, which is here. I am adding on a couple of centimetres just in case. So then it is going to be 10 centimetres down there. Let's just cut that out. I'm just going to use a pair of scissors for that. I'm not going to use my rotary or anything like that. Of course, you can use any vinyl that you've got on hand. It doesn't have to be the same as this, but if you do want to use this one, this is a Intense Sparkles vinyl, and I'll pop a link down below for that for you, so you can grab that if you want to use the same one. I'm just going to use this mat now and just pop that vinyl right up in the corner there. Let's get the brayer. Get a good old bray. There we go. Now let's select our machine, and then we're going to choose our material. Now this particular holographic vinyl is quite thick, so I always choose the holographic sparkle vinyl setting. You could try premium outdoor vinyl, but it might not go all the way through. So especially with something that's quite intricate like this cut is, I would go for the holographic sparkle vinyl setting. Let's pop this in the machine and get it cut. Now that that cut's finished, I'm just going to check that it's actually cut. And I'm going to just go in there with a weeding tool, just lift up a piece that's going to be weeded, and just make sure that it pulls out nice and easily. And that is now done, so we can definitely eject that mat and be satisfied that that cut has been successful. If you find that your cut has not been successful, you may want to just press the go button again so that the Cricut just runs over the cut one more time, and it does usually sort out the problem that you're having if it's not quite cut all the way through. You can only do that though if you don't eject your mat, so make sure that you just get into the habit of checking everything's cut before you eject. Here we are then, back on the desk. That's cut quite nicely, I think, so I'm quite pleased with how that's come out. What I'm going to do actually is just take that off the mat. I'm just going to carefully grab my scissors and just cut away the excess because I don't want to waste any of this vinyl. So it comes up to there. This is where I cut through it, but not having a very successful day today. There we go. So we've got that little bit there of spare that we can use later in another project. So I've just popped it back on the mat just to make it easier, and then I've just got my weeding pen. This one is a Tech Wrap weeding pen that I've got here, and I'm just going to pull that back really gently, and as you can see, that cut has done pretty well on those little leaves. It hasn't, however, gone through that whole line there. So I'm just going to grab my knife and just go through that carefully. Hopefully none of the other bits will be like that, because that'll be a bit of a pain in the bum. Okay, we're done. That is fantastic. Right then, next what we need to do is just take this off the mat. Lovely, job done. Let's just separate our designs as well. Now you're going to want to add these onto your envelope box. So let's bring the envelope back in. It's dried nicely now, all the glue is nice and dry. I'm going to be using a piece of low tack transfer tape. This is my favourite one. It is a de-tape one, and you can get it from MDP Supplies. Oh, I've just noticed I've missed a little blob of weeding. Look at that inside the R. That would have been annoying. It should leave Max. Okay, looks pretty good. Oh, I've missed those as well. Gosh, I am not doing well today, am I? Today's obviously not a crafting day for me. Right, let's now pop that onto there. Pop that onto there and give it a good old burnish with a squeegee. And then what we want to do again is just cut that off there. Cut that off there. I think we'll start with this one. In order to get this off of the backing paper, the easiest method I've found is to fold over the backing paper so that it's really flat against the desk, and then you just want to very carefully roll that back and then just very gently move your fingers, and that is perfect. Okay, now this light tack transfer paper is brilliant when you're using it on cardstock, because some stronger ones may pull the top off of your cardstock and then it will damage it, so that's not what we want. Let's pop that down in the corner there, and then just give it a little rub down with your fingers gently. Of course, if you've got these cut out before you put everything together, you could always stick it on before you do your gluing. Let's just do exactly the same thing again. We're just going to walk our fingers back across that transfer paper. That looks absolutely fantastic. Let's do the same with this one. I'm just going to give that an extra bray on the back because I have cut that with my True Control knife, so I just need to make sure that it's not going to lift that off. Let's just roll back again, so that is pressed down right against the desk, and I'm just walking my fingers back a little bit at a time. And if you find that your vinyl lifts, all you'll want to do is just push that backing paper back down and just push it back down onto the transfer paper. And just press and pull as you go. It sounds a little bit of a contradiction, but it does really work. And if this is the first time that you're using vinyl, just go really slowly and just do it as slowly as you need to. There we go. Let's just get that on there. Fantastic. Right, that is done. Let's pop that in the centre now. I'm just going to really quickly refer to the design on the screen, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that we can find the centre of that design. So on the design you get a crosshair. It's very faint, but it's definitely there, and that just shows you the centre point of your design. So you can now see that the centre of that design is going to be just here in between the N and the O. So I can use that as a rough guide to make sure that I place my design properly. So there is the centre of my design, and I just want to try and get it as straight as I can. Okay, I'm happy with that, I think. Let's just give it a quick rub down. And again, we want to peel back that transfer paper as flat as we can. Because we've got a lot of little bits on this one, this is where you're going to find that you'll probably get a little bit of lifting, like with that star that came up then. But as I said, if you get any lifting, just push back against your design and push it down nicely again. A spare bit of vinyl on there that's made it escape. And then you might just have to get your fingers in there just to get that last bit off. And then all I would do is just push that down with your fingers afterwards, just to be certain that it's on there. That is fantastic. Right, where's that naughty elf that I had? Here he is. Let's pop him in there. This is perfect for him. He's gonna fold his little legs into there. Let's bend his knees the right way around, because that'd be a bit cool, wouldn't it? There we go. He is back and he is ready for shenanigans this Christmas season. I hope you have enjoyed this video and that you are going to be inspired to make this project, which you can find on Creative Fabrica, and I will pop all of the links to everything I've used, all of the image codes and everything will be on the screen for you and down below in the description. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up and I'll see you soon for another one. Take care, bye!